All right, so let's get into our question of the day. The question comes from Dana. Dana is from Indiana, and her question is, how does a repossession impact your credit? That's an excellent question. So oftentimes people think that, if you have a repossession, especially if you have a voluntary repossession, let's say you figured out that I can no longer afford this car. You can't trade it in because you're too upside down, or you can't sell it, or whatever it is, and you say I'm going to volunteer to turn this car in, and you think that that's a positive for you. Well, in a sense, it is a positive for you. It's better than having the involuntary repossession where in the middle of the night, the tow truck man comes and he scoops your car up and you walk out there the next day and it's gone and you have no idea where it is, but you have some clue. You call the police station. They say, hey, somebody took your car because you didn't make the payment. All right, so how does it impact your score? Negatively. Absolutely, it's a negative. If you have a repossession, then, and I'm assuming you're talking about a vehicle. I mean, you could be talking about an RV or a boat or anything. All those things still fit. If you owe money on a vehicle, you didn't pay it, then and someone comes and get it, that's a repossession. So here's how it works. Sometimes, even if you just fall 30 days behind, there are some companies out there that, in my opinion, I would call that relatively ruthless. If you're only 30 days behind and they come to repossess your car, that is, that in a phrase, that really is just ruthless to come and get it after 30 days. So if you fall behind, they come and get your car, whether you do it voluntarily or involuntarily, they come and get it. Oftentimes what will happen is they'll go ahead and auction your car off, or they'll sell it outright. So for example, let's say you owe $15,000 on a particular car. They come and get it, or you turn that car in, and they're able to sell it for $12,000. So what happens? What happens then when there is a gap? There's a $3,000 gap or a difference in there. Who owes that money? Well, whoever took the car from you and lent you the money in the first place, they are going to expect that $3,000. So you still owe that money to that account for a car that you no longer have any access to and you do not own. Oftentimes, if it's a balance of just that amount, or maybe even if it's a bigger balance, $9,000, a bigger difference, then you'll be able to negotiate oftentimes a lower amount. So if you owe $3,000, I would suggest you not pay them $3,000. I would suggest that you negotiate with them a lower amount. Of course, that just saves you money. They already have their vehicle. They already sold the car. And then sometimes, if it's a really small amount, they may just forgive the difference altogether. But oftentimes, they want that difference. And so that's what happens when you have a repossession. Now, how does this affect your credit? The way it affects your credit is, as long as that's out there, that amount is out there, it's going to be reported to your credit report every month, just like everything else is reported to your credit report. It's going to report every month, and it's going to continue to drag your score down. Every month it's an issue. It's going to continue to drag your score down. So it's important that you go ahead and you tackle those situations right away. Do the best that you can, because again, time is on your side. Yes, you've had a negative happen to your credit report, but in the future, the further away you get from that negative, the better it's going to be for your score. So try to tackle it as soon as possible if you can, no matter how you're going to do it. Make sure that you do that. All right, so then, like I said, month after month, it's going to negatively affect your credit score. What you need to do is, when you have that repossession, how it'll show up on your credit report, it should show that you had a repossession. It may say voluntary if you turned it in yourself, or it just may say plain old repossession or involuntary repossession. Now, where it hurts you is when, even if your score is decent or it stays decent or it becomes better over time, the next time you try to go in and get a vehicle, then they're going to see that. They're going to see that, and that may affect your your interest rate that they're able to give you. It also will affect how much money they'll want you to put down, because now you have a track record of, maybe not paying that particular bill, and they want to make sure they get as much upfront as possible to cover their any potential loss that they may have. So I think that what you need to do is to make sure that you tackle it right away. You go right away and make sure you try to lessen that particular burden. Call your creditor. Call your creditor and talk to them and see if there's any other avenues that are available for you prior to they coming and getting the car. And you'll know if they're coming to get it because they're going to be calling you each and every day to try to figure it out. But that time that I just talked to you about is not all is lost, because you do have time. When you have time, it'll help your credit score. And speaking of time, don't expect for your credit score to turn around in 2, 3, 4 months. You can't take 2, 3, 4, 5 years of not doing the things that will help your credit and expect for it to turn around in 3 or 4, 5 months. If that was the case, then there would be no incentive to keep a good credit score and keep on top of your credit on a monthly basis for years and years and years. So make sure you do that. So all is not lost when it comes to that. And I just want to tell you, I think I told you guys before, I think last week I actually mentioned, eventually, hopefully this year, I'm going to pay off my student loan. So my student loans, even though my credit report is squeaky clean now, but back in the day when I first graduated from college, I ran from Sallie Mae for 5 years. So, of course, my credit score was really bad because I had that negative. Every month that I missed the payment, I didn't make a payment, it was negative for my credit score. So I'm here to tell you that you can recover from any and all of those things. Sallie Mae, of course, eventually found me, and I had to go ahead and start making the payments on my student loans. I swear Sallie Mae can find anybody. I think Sallie Mae found Bin Laden and Saddam Hussein, because Sallie Mae is no joke. Sallie Mae will find you and make sure that you pay back those student loans. So all is not lost. And of course, for me, that was way more than 7 years ago. All is not lost. You can recover from any kind of a situation like that. So I want to say thank you so much for Dana from Indiana. You are officially a part of the 800 Credit Score Man Show family. Thank you so much for emailing me. And again, if you have questions, 800 Credit Score Man at gmail.com. That's where you can catch me. And the question of the day is brought to you by none other than Cute as a Cupcake, Cupcakery and Bake Shop, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. 2008 West 81st in Maryville, Indiana. Get by there and tell them that the 800 Credit Score Man sent you. All right, so let's wrap these things up. Let's wrap up. How long does this particular thing stay on my credit? Actually, before I do that, because there's a lot of birthdays, let me do a couple of more shout outs when it comes to birthdays. So I shouted out my whole family, basically, it seems like, as it is. I got to shout out Tamara McElroy, another relative. This is my SIL, my sister-in-law. I call her SIL. My sister-in-law, Tamara McElroy, is celebrating a birthday coming up this week. So happy birthday to you. I got to shout out Natalie Harvey. I think today is Natalie Harvey's birthday. This is a wonderful woman of God who does a great job at everything that she does. You guys say happy birthday to Natalie Harvey as well. Farida Muhammad is celebrating a birthday as well. If you do not know her, I'm going to suggest that you get to her Facebook page and see all the positive things that she's talking about. She's talking about getting your life together when it comes to your life insurance, leaving a legacy, things of that nature. And that's part of what this mission to movement is. In the mission of movement for the 800 Credit Score Man Show, we're going to move not away from credit, but we're going to encompass and include some financial situations that will help you out for the future. So, Farida Muhammad, happy birthday to you. I gotta wish a happy birthday to my frat, John Campbell. Happy birthday to you, John. Big ups to you. And Danny Balbosa. Danny Balbosa was the catcher on my baseball team in high school, Lew Wallace High School. So big shout out to Lew Wallace. Big happy birthday shout out to Danny Balbosa as well. All right, so look, Collections. Let's talk about that. How long does a collection stay on your credit report? Now, you've been listening, so you know that a collection is going to stay on your credit report for 7 years. Here's what I want you to do, though. I want you to look up your particular state and see how long can somebody actually collect on you. So some states have different years or different time periods when somebody can collect on you. So not every place says that you can collect on someone for up to 7 years. Even though it'll stay on your credit report, some states may say they can only collect on you for 5 years. So if somebody's calling you and it's the 6th year, technically they're breaking the law and you do not have to pay that. Actually, and if you want to dispute that claim on your credit report, you may have a case for that as well. You can say, hey, in my state says they can only collect for 5 years, so I no longer owe them this particular debt, so I'm disputing this claim on my credit report, and it may come off of your credit report. So in collections, you got 7 years for it to be on your credit report, but I would suggest that you check on your in your particular state and see if that's the case, because you may be able to get that removed off of your credit report by technicality. You guys do realize that you can only really, by law, remove information that is erroneous or it is not yours. That's really the things that you can remove. So if that debt was actually yours, technically it's not supposed to come off of your credit report. But of course, with everything, especially dealing with our laws, there are loopholes that you may be able to take advantage of to get some collections off of your credit report. But typically, 7 years is how long it'll stay on your credit report. So what about late payments? How long will a late payment stay on your credit report? A late payment, whether it's your car payment or if it's, let's say it's your your credit card payment or your mortgage, how long will that reflect on your credit report? It'll be on there for 7 years. So if you pull your credit report, and of course I suggest you do from all 3 credit bureaus, TransUnion, Equifax, Experian, not necessarily all at the same time, but you can pull your credit report. www.annualcreditreport.com is where you can get it totally for free. You can get your credit report there. Oftentimes what you'll see on the side is basically a calendar, and it'll say, person played good, might be an okay or a green check or something of that nature. If you've been 30 days late in any particular month, you'll see a red 30 or something like that. Get your credit reports, take a look at it. But for 7 years, they're kind of calculating those things. Some credit reports, they only show you like the last 2 years or the last 3 years, but rest assured that it can stay on your credit report for 7 years. All right, so then let's talk about closed accounts. So what happens with a closed account? Some people want to close their account. They think that it makes their credit bureau or their credit report look neater, if you will, if they close an account. If you've had a good account, you've paid it on time every time, and you've closed it, or even if the lender has closed it because you no longer use it, even if they've closed it, it's going to stay on your credit report for 10 years. Now, if it's a good account, just let it stay on your credit report, especially if it's a good account. Let it stay on your credit report. You're going to get the benefit of all of those good payments and what have you, and they'll use it to calculate your score, and it'll be a positive for you for 10 years. Even if it was a bad account, if it's a long-standing account, you've had it for a long time, maybe it'll help you with your length of history. That's 15% of your credit score. So it's not necessarily so that you need to go ahead and pull those things off of your credit report. Also, let's say it was a bad account, but it was bad, say, 6 years ago. It was bad 6 years ago, but now it was a good account after that. That is positive for you. It actually shows growth. It shows that you've done a good job of recovering from having a bad account. So don't necessarily go and start removing things off of your credit report all willy-nilly. There's no need to do that. Do not do that, you guys, all right? Okay, so look, it's the end of the show. I can't believe it's already at the end of the show. It's a couple of more things I wanted to hit you guys with. I might have to save this for next week. Before I get out of here, I've got to say happy birthday to Anika McFall. If you don't know Anika McFall, she is a serious actress. A serious actress. Look her up. She's been in a lot of different things. Anika McFall, happy birthday to you as well. And I wanted to mention this, which kind of has nothing to